it's Terry Gaines. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! I'm going to give you some assembly tips on a fun card created with a stamp set called Framed for You. I'm going to use this greenery stamped image, this cute little flower, and one of the sentiments. I'm also going to be using a punch that's called Vases Builder Punch and Designer Series paper. For this card, depending on the Designer Series paper, will determine your ink pad colors and your cardstock. I'm going to be using a Designer Series paper packet called Artistry Blooms. It is a 12 by 12 paper. My sheets here are cut down smaller than that, and it has some bright, fun colors, and it is double-sided. And I am going to use 3 of these prints. So I'm going to use the prints that have the mango and the calypso coral and the melon mambo colors in them. And as you can see already, I have punched all 3 of them with the Vase Builder Punch. And what I've done is I've just used it right on the edge of the paper. And as you can tell, depending on where you punch, you're going to get some fun vase designs. And as I mentioned, your Designer Series paper is going to determine the look of your card. So by picking that Designer Series paper for my design, that helped me determine my ink pad colors and my cardstock colors. So what I'm going to do first is do the stamping for this card. The stamping is done on a Whisper White piece of cardstock that is 3 inches by 4 1/4 in size. And I am going to be stamping the greenery and the flowers for all 3 of the vases. And because the vases are different heights, it sometimes can be difficult to know where to stamp the greenery for the vases. So I'm going to share a tip that I use for this. I take a ruler and I want to start out at 5/8 of an inch from the edge. So I'm going to line my ruler up at 5/8 of an inch going to the left side of the increment number 1 on the ruler. So I will tell you my videos are unedited and sometimes I have bloopers, mainly misspoken words. I'll say stamped instead of punched or punched instead of stamped. So just bear with me on that. So what I've got are the 3 different punches of the vases. So I'm going to line the ruler up to the bottom of that white cardstock, put the edge on the 5/8 inch mark coming to the left of number 1. Then I'm going to place each vase on a 1 inch increment. So I'm going to place it, center it on 1, 2, and 3 on the ruler. And then I'm going to take a pencil and do a pencil line at the top of each of these vases. I don't have to worry about erasing that pencil line because it won't be seen, but it's going to help me for the placement of the greenery. And I'm going to turn it sideways. It's going to be easier to stamp. The ink pad color I'm going to use is Granny Apple Green, and the stamps for this stamp set are distinctive stamps. So what that means is there's a lot of fine detail in the images. If you get too much ink on your stamp, it's not going to harm anything. It's going to fill in those detailed images. But if you want to have those detailed images appear, it's best to take a plastic spoon, the rounded edge, and just move the ink on your ink pad. That it will go back into place. It will settle back there, but move it long enough for you to stamp and get just the ink on the top of the edge of on the surface of your stamp. So now what I'm going to do is use that pencil dot as a guide for where I'm stamping. So what I'm doing is that bottom leaf, I'm looking at this bottom edge right here to be stamped around where the pencil mark is. And I'm not going to be perfect on this, but that's okay. There's a lot of give for placement, but I attempted to get that leaf close to that pencil dot on all 3, and I did pretty good on that. So now what that's going to allow me to do is have these vases, which are different heights, work out well for the greenery because they are now different heights. There's different adhesives you can adhere the vases down with. I'm just going to grab the mini glue dots. I love these mini glue dots. They are very strong and they're perfect for lots of your different images. Now my vases are going to be placed about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom edge. And I like to put the two ends down first. That helps me with the placement of the center one. Then I can get them centered a little bit easier. As I mentioned, about 1/8 of an inch up. Place that. And now, as I mentioned, I'll place the center one last to give me hopefully a vase that is centered between the other two. And there we go. So I put the vases down first, and then I stamp the flowers. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the flowers in 3 different colors. I'm going to do the Mango Melody, Calypso Coral, and Melon Mango. These are some fun, bright colors that coordinate with the stamp set. So I'm going to use this cute little flower, and I'm not going to worry about moving the ink. So what I want to do is just stamp each flower in a different color. So off on the side I have my chamois, which I can clean my stamp, and you can see that I got a lot more ink on that stamp. But if you want to get more detail, then you're going to move your ink. And then a couple flowers for that first one, and that's the mango color. So I'm going to also stamp the sentiment, and let's see, where did I put that? I'm going to use the mango color for that. And we'll just stamp a sentiment, thinking of you, up in the corner. So that's the stamping that I need for this card. As you can see, the center of the flower has an opening, which you can leave as is, or you can put a little embellishment in there. And I'm going to add a little embellishment to that, but we'll do that at the end. So next, what we want to do is have some cardstock colors. So cardstock color number 1, I'm going to use the mango color, and this is cut at 3 1/8 by 4 3/8, and that's going to be the next layer. I'm going to use the Stamp and Seal, and this is a new adhesive in our annual catalog, and my best results are if I have a light touch with a soft check mark at the end. If it happens not to want to start again for you, you just use your finger to get it to start again. Cardstock color number 2, I'm going to use this is the Mango Melody, and this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So just a slightly larger. And I mentioned before about the designer series paper. That is going to determine your cardstock colors. So this just adding that little bit of color on the edge just pops everything out here. So the card base is going to be Whisper White. It is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. I already scored it at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold it on the score line. If you have a bone folder handy, you can crease that or use your finger. And the designer series paper, which will be the next layer, is 2 1/2 by 4. And this is one of the prints that I cut or punched out the vases. So it's fun to try this design with different papers. And I'm going to place it this direction. And now this is going to be placed right on top. And just look how fun and pretty those colors are. So you could put this down with dimensionals. I'm just going to leave it with adhesive, and dimensionals will just add more dimension to your card, which is sometimes fun to do. Now I mentioned we're going to embellish the centers with, I'm going to use the champagne rhinestones for this. They're a light peach color, which is a great color, and I have putty in here. I just need to get a little bit more out. There we go. And just adding those to the center of those flowers. Isn't that just pops those flowers when you add that to the center? Absolutely love this card. And as I mentioned, you can change this up by using different papers. I used 3 different prints, and I used those 3 different prints on each of the different sides here. So it just makes a fun, beautiful card. What you can also do is change up the designer series paper. This is the 6x6 Regals using crushed curry, Cajun craze, and old olive. and here's one using one of the bright papers. So by changing up the colors, you can change up the look of the card, and it is a fun card to make using the Framed for You stamp set, the Vases Builder Punch, and your favorite designer series paper. If you found me via YouTube, look in the comments section for a direct link to my blog post where you'll find the supply list, measurements, and instructions for this project. There'll be a PDF tutorial you can download. I would love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the red box under the video. If you would like to order Stampin' Up! Product and don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to have you contact me or place an order on my online store. If you use my host code, you'll receive some extra thank you gifts. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed creating this project with me. Stay safe and stay healthy.